Welcome back to Think Cosmos, where we ponder the universe's deepest secrets and wonders. Take a moment to appreciate your refrigerator or the air conditioner in your home. They're modern marvels, but they're also basically descendants of 19th century tech. Compressors, refrigerant fluids, lots of moving parts humming away. Now imagine a new cooling device with no compressor, no freon or liquid coolant, and far fewer moving pieces. Something you could almost just plug in like a computer chip. Better yet, imagine it's twice as efficient as what we use now. This isn't sci-fi. It's a breakthrough just achieved with nano-engineered thermoelectric materials. In plain terms, scientists have found a way to dramatically improve how we pump heat using electricity. This could transform cooling technology from kitchen fridges all the way to cooling systems on spacecraft. Let's break down how it works and why it matters. Point 1. What is thermoelectric cooling, and why haven't we replaced our fridges with it yet? Thermoelectric devices are solid-state heat movers. They use a principle where if you run an electric current through a special material, it can carry heat from one side to the other, making one side cold and the other hot. It's the reverse of the Seebeck effect, where a temperature difference can create a current. The beauty is, there are no moving parts. Compare that to a normal fridge. A motor compresses gas, circulates it through coils, it expands, etc. Those systems can be bulky, make noise, use oils and greenhouse gases, the refrigerants. Thermoelectrics are quiet, compact, and very reliable because there's nothing really to break mechanically. They've been around for a while. Perhaps you've seen tiny mini-fridge coolers for drinks or cooling pads for electronic components that are thermoelectric. But the catch is efficiency. Traditional thermoelectric materials have been low efficiency, meaning they require a lot of electric power to move a little bit of heat. For big cooling jobs, they just couldn't compete with compressor systems, which, while not perfect, are pretty good at moving heat per unit of energy input. So historically, we only used thermoelectrics in niche applications, like cooling sensors and satellites, where reliability is more important than efficiency, or portable coolers, where you accept using more battery for convenience. The breakthrough announced now is that a research team from Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab, working with others, managed to double the efficiency of thermoelectric cooling compared to what's commercially available. That's a huge leap. If confirmed and scalable, it suddenly puts thermoelectric tech in a competitive range for mainstream cooling needs. Point 2. How did they do it? Nano-engineered superlattice materials. The advance comes from material science wizardry. The team developed a special kind of thermoelectric material structured at the nanoscale called CHESS, short for controlled, hierarchically engineered superlattice structures. Essentially, they built up the material in ultra-thin layers, a superlattice, with nano-engineering tricks that dramatically improve its thermoelectric performance. Thermoelectric efficiency is measured by a factor called ZT. Higher is better. Achieving a big jump in ZT often means balancing electrical conductivity to carry current. Against thermal conductivity, you want it low so heat doesn't just flow back. By making thin film multi-layers, they created a path that electrons love, so current flows. But phonons, vibrations that carry heat, get scattered and blocked. It's like a one-way street for electrons with speed bumps for heat. They also mentioned the technology was 10 years in development, and initially even meant for national security uses. Interestingly, advanced cooling is useful for things like infrared sensors on spy satellites or silent cooling of electronics in the field. They partnered with Samsung engineers to prove this works in an actual refrigeration setup. So it's not just a lab measurement. They built a prototype that showcases improved heat pumping. By doubling efficiency, It means a thermoelectric cooler can remove the same amount of heat with half the power compared to previous ones. Or equivalently, for a given power, remove twice the heat. That starts to approach the performance territory of compressor fridges. Not fully there yet, perhaps, but much closer. Importantly, their design is compatible with semiconductor chip fabrication, meaning you could mass-produce these cooling elements similar to how we mass-produce electronics. Imagine printing cooling devices much like you print circuits. That could slash manufacturing costs and allow integrating coolers directly into devices, like directly cooling a computer's CPU with a built-in thermoelectric layer, for example. Point 3. Impacts. From everyday life to space exploration. The implications of reliable, efficient solid-state cooling are broad. Let's start at home. Your refrigerator and AC could become quieter, more compact, and environmentally friendly. No refrigerant gases that can contribute to global warming if leaked. No compressors also means potentially longer lifespan and less maintenance, fewer moving parts to fail. They could design fridges with just a simple heat sink and thermoelectric modules, maybe even flexible or smaller ones for portable use. For air conditioning, one could envision arrays of thermoelectric panels, cooling air with no noisy compressor outside. It might even allow AC units that are just flat panels on a wall. Now to space and high-tech applications, which is really relevant for this being a breakthrough tech for future space missions. In spacecraft, cooling is a big deal. Electronics and instruments generate heat, and in space there's no air to convect it away. You rely on radiators. Current spacecraft use things like fluid loops and sometimes thermoelectrics for spot cooling. A more efficient thermoelectric means you can keep sensitive components, like infrared cameras or quantum devices, chilled with less power drain. On a spacecraft, power is precious. Solar panels only give so much. So doubling cooling efficiency could enable missions to run more instruments or keep them at optimal temperatures without sacrificing other systems. For human missions, life support often involves cooling too. Spacesuits need cooling. Habitats need refrigeration for food and medical supplies, air conditioning, etc. Doing that solid state would reduce complexity and weight. For instance, imagine a lunar base with reliable cooling units that don't need heavy gas compressor machinery. Just plug-and-play cooling tiles that last years without maintenance. That's very attractive. Less moving parts also thrive better in microgravity. Fluids and compressors can behave differently in zero-G. A solid-state system doesn't care. Another niche, prosthetics and wearables. They mentioned the material had been used in non-invasive cooling for prosthetic limbs to keep them comfortable. Efficient thermoelectrics could lead to cooling vests for astronauts or firefighters, etc., powered by small batteries. Or medicine, portable vaccine coolers that run on a car battery in remote areas. All of these become more feasible as efficiency rises. It's also an environmentally timely development. Conventional AC and refrigeration are huge energy hogs globally, and many still use refrigerants that are greenhouse gases. A switch to thermoelectrics widely, assuming renewable electricity, could cut down on those emissions significantly and ease energy demands. We might even see inventive uses like climate-controlled clothing or on-demand cooling in electric vehicles. Some cars do use small thermoelectric coolers for seat cooling already. Higher efficiency could expand that. Closing thought. It's not every day that a fundamental tech like refrigeration takes a leap forward. We're kind of used to Moore's law for computers, but fridges and ACs have improved only incrementally over decades. This breakthrough feels like opening a door to a new era where cooling can be smarter and cleaner. It makes you wonder, in a decade or two, will the buzz of compressors be a thing of the past, replaced by silent chips humming away to keep our food cold and our homes comfortable? And zooming out, Imagine future spacecraft or Mars habitats using these solid-state coolers to survive the temperature extremes with ease. It's a great example of how advances in material science can ripple out into everyday life and advanced exploration alike. Next time you enjoy a cold drink or step into an air-conditioned room, consider that the next generation of cooling might come from quantum-scale engineering in a thin film. A high-tech solution to a very down-to-earth and beyond Earth need. How cool is that?